Welcome back, my friends. We are back to making big strides this week. Well, relatively speaking. It turns out animating an entire scene is a lot harder than a nice walk cycle exercise, but I suppose that goes without saying. That being said, I did start off by finally just saying fuck it and wrapping up the body animation. Is it perfect? No. Do the legs still look wonky? For sure. Is it more useful for me to move on than to linger on perfecting the movement on this single project? Absolutely. So let's keep going, and if the mood strikes me in the future, I can come back and fix her, but if it doesn't, then that will surely be because I have newer projects that excite me. I fixed up the lip sync a little bit after finishing the body, but my main focus this week was to get the tail done. So this next pass was all about nailing down the motion and keeping a generally consistent shape. I admittedly don't have this character's design perfectly nailed down. Word of professional advice, don't do this. Know what you're animating before you start animating and draw it out or something. So I drew the tail a few different ways before I settled on giving it a bit more floof. But then I didn't like that either, so I went in to make my final pass only to realize I wanted it to look entirely different. So I ended up having to do another pass to really figure out the shape. I added this kind of round shape at the end because I wanted to make the tail feel like it had more form. Side note, the big problem I realized I have with my animation here is that the way I draw my characters lacks any indicators of form. With my walk cycles, I was able to supplement this by giving the characters patterns or details that moved over the bodies to simulate that form, but this character is intentionally pretty bare. The only indicators she has of 3D form are the outlines I provide for her body, which doesn't actually convey a whole lot once she's in motion. Going forward, I'm going to want to start drawing my characters in a way that prioritizes form more than just a solid outline, so I'll have to do some style studies before my next big project. Anyways, back to the tail. I added this shape, which I feel helped in a lot of ways and became inconvenient in others, but oh well. You guys know the drill. It's all about learning what works and what doesn't, and the only way out of the smog of uncertainty is through. So after I went back with the second rough pass to focus on the new tail shape, I finally got to get into lining. And of course, lining is where I always find the final parts I got wrong, and there are some spots I'd like to clean up or redo the motion to make it more effective or correct, but for now, we're done. And god, do I need that character to be done. Next week, we'll add the wigs and get on with the next character at last.
You have been my friend. That in itself is a tremendous thing. After all, what's a life anyway?
If I was going to approach this project differently in the future, I would definitely hesitate to separate the body from the tail. While that works fine in a walk cycle, in this case it ended up making it harder to keep the length of the tail consistent with the body throughout the project. I have a tendency to focus in on small parts of the work while neglecting the bigger picture, which is part of why I struggle so much with keeping my shapes consistent across the span of the animation. Next time I approach a larger scale project like this, I'm going to try really zooming out and looking at the whole character and how they fit into and move through space before I break things down into pieces like I did here. As always with this series, we celebrate our learning as much as we celebrate our successes, so even if I would have wanted to do better here, I acknowledge I only know how to do better now because I've made those necessary mistakes here. I think I probably owe you guys a bit of a clarification about the nature of this series because I'm realizing as I go that I'm giving the impression of someone who's just starting out and is making appallingly good progress in terms of skill, and that's not the case. I actually have a bachelor's degree in animation. I've been drawing for years and years before I ever started this series, and regardless of the quality of that art, that's still years of practice under my belt. I didn't start this series because I thought I was bad at art, though the name is definitely a bit misleading. I called it Animating Every Day Until I'm Good because the truth is that I don't know a single artist who really thinks of themselves as good at art, and it's designed to be this sort of unattainable finish line that is constantly being pushed back as I develop both my actual skills and my ability to discern what makes my art good. There is no foreseeable episode where I wrap things up and say, okay everybody, I'm good at art now, bye forever, because artists are always in a state of learning. I named the series with the intent of making it approachable, both for viewers and for myself. I want everyone to feel comfortable offering critique regardless of their personal views on their skill level and how it might compare to how they view mine. I have a lot of confidence in my artistic abilities, but I also want to make sure I maintain a sense of humility. I've said it before, but I can never emphasize enough that keeping an open mind and an open dialogue about art and where we can improve and not getting stuck in any self-aggrandizing patterns that might find us thinking we know better than anyone who critiques our work is imperative to the never-ending process of improvement. Animating Every Day Until I'm Good is my way of fostering a community of artists from all skill levels and all backgrounds and putting us all on an equal playing field. I want you all to know that any critique you offer in good faith will be taken as seriously as if it came from one of my university peers. Kind of on that topic, but not really, I'm actually super devastated to find out that it looks like my favorite comment that I got was deleted. It was on one of the first couple of videos and it just said trash animation, and I honestly was so obsessed with it that I favorited it because it's so funny. What inspired you to say that? That's like going up to some kid in your elementary art class and being like, trash finger painting, little man. The first ever comment I got on an Avo Rabo video, for those of you who remember those days, was just a comment that said annoying, and it's probably the only comment I've ever gotten that could top trash animation for funniest possible thing you could say under my video, and I'm deadly serious. I really wanted to print that one out and have it framed, so if there's a way to find deleted comments, I would love to undelete it. Say it with your chest, man. Don't back down just because people actually saw what you had to say. Anyway, silliness aside, while I don't personally mind getting clowned on myself, I do want want to encourage anyone who's actually in the art community to remember that we're all always learning together no matter our skill levels. I have a thick skin about my art, but there are people out there who aren't as practiced in receiving critique, and it's important for us to remember that art is a vessel for community above all else. How you participate in that community can shape your art itself, and we should strive to be an inclusive community, not a divisive one. Based on the nature of this series, I'd expect everyone watching to be interested in the learning process, so I feel safe trusting that every critique is approached with the earnest intent of helping me or anyone else in the comments improve. If you're coming in to shit on my art, that's fine too. I know it comes with putting yourself out there, and I welcome all comments. Just know that you're not part of the community I'm trying to foster here. You're welcome to come back from time out when you're ready to behave like a big kid, okay? For those of you who are genuine about your craft, don't be intimidated by people who just like to stir the pot. People are gonna say shit, and I promise it'll be funny. Someday you'll be able to hang the comments on the wall of your studio space, and your heart will be full of glitter and honey and warm sentimental mush, thinking about how far you've come since those words hurt your feelings. This series is so young, and it's already creating so many opportunities for me to connect with fellow artists. I never could have dreamed that 2 months into actually posting my work, I would have reached so many amazing people. Artists that I've looked up to for years are following me, can you imagine? I feel so humble and so fortunate to be in a position in my life right now where I have the time and energy and resources to commit to my craft, and I want to thank everyone who's reached out or followed me or liked a video or even just watched these updates all the way through. I'm considering starting a Discord or something to foster this spirit of learning, but I don't really know how to go about doing that just yet. I hope you'll stick around as we keep working together to improve, and I can't wait to see where we can go from here. As always, thanks so much for watching, much love, and I'll see you in the next one.